Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Well, now, more than a fifth of lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender people have experienced abuse in the past year, says the charity Stonewall. Attacks both verbal and physical. The figures for transgender people are even higher, with 41% saying they have been the victims of hate crime. But only a small proportion of victims reported attacks to the police. And a warning, this report from our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis does contain strong language.
Alison is 63 and previously worked in the motoring industry. Angela is a 42-year-old former soldier. And Lexi, who's 40, worked as a computer technician. All three live in Bristol, are transgender, and all three have experienced a hate crime or incident in the last 12 months.
Well, I was literally walking along the road minding my own business. I'd passed a guy with a dog, and I heard him say, "Oh, for F's sake." So I turned around to see what was the matter, and he was looking at me, and he said, "People like you disgust me. You're lucky it isn't dark, because you would be dead."
And the impact those words had on you?
Yeah, they just... I can't believe that there are people out there that would want me dead just for living my life and minding my own business.
Alison says she was sexually assaulted outside a bar this year by a stranger whom she'd met earlier in the night.
He was suggesting that all trans girls are easy for sex and you know that you want it, and I said, "No, I don't do this type of thing." I said, "Just leave me alone." He was getting more aggressive with his hand at my skirt, and I'm trying to push it away. I managed eventually to push him away. It felt if I had been raped without actually being raped. I felt abused. I didn't know what to think. And it was really distressing. And it should not be like that. So yeah, it's not good.
Today the charity Stonewall said anti-LGBT hate crime in Britain had increased significantly since its last big survey 4 years ago. In this latest polling, it found that 16% of lesbian, gay and bi people experienced a hate crime or incident related to their sexual orientation in the last year. That's a rise of 78% on 4 years ago. But among trans people, more than 40% reported experiencing a hate crime or incident because of their gender identity. Underreporting also remains a major issue, says Stonewall. On Bristol's West Street, we meet student Rosa and aerospace engineer Jamie. If tonight someone came up to you and assaulted you or verbally abused you, would you automatically go to the police? Would you have confidence in the police?
Probably not for verbal. I might for physical, but I can't say 100% I'd go.
The survey found that only 19% of LGBT people who experienced a hate crime or incident reported it to the police. And young people were even less likely to do so. Just 12% said they'd gone to the police. What would be your biggest fear of reporting any hate crime or hate incident to the police?
My biggest fear would be the police not taking it seriously enough and not doing enough, and the person who did whatever they did to me being able to come back and get at me again. It would be that fear of not being protected.
4 in 5, that's 80% of LGBT people that experienced the hate crime didn't report it at all. They didn't feel that it would be taken seriously. They thought they had to grin and bear it, and that is just not acceptable. The police need to do more to encourage people to report that crime.
So what is hate? It goes through the legal definitions of what a hate incident and a hate crime are.
Some forces now work closely with Stonewall, like Dyfed Powys Police, whose Special Constabulary Chief Officer, a volunteer, takes me through the presentation he gives schools and colleges. The force, he says, now has 50 designated LGBT liaison officers.
And what would you say to those young people who've been victims of hate crime, who
don't have the confidence in the police to go and report?
I would always urge someone to come and speak to someone. The strides that we've made and steps forward we've made in recent years have been phenomenal. The training given to police officers now is fantastic. So I turned round.
And he knows all about hate crime, taking us back to the place in his hometown of Ammanford, where he, aged 17, was attacked for being gay.
And I got to this railway crossing here, and being the polite young man I was, I opened the gate and I said, "After you." And at that point I was grabbed by the scruff of my neck, punched repeatedly in the middle of my face, and I had homophobic abuse shouted at me.
What did he say?
"I'm going to kill you, you gay bastard."
He needed surgery afterwards, but his attacker was only cautioned, not charged. Failed by the police 9 years ago, he says, which is why he decided to join them.
I had to turn that negative experience into a positive one. One, for my own mental health, because I was scared to leave the house. But also to try and make sure that no one else goes through what I did.
Stonewall say it's not clear what precisely might be driving this apparent rise in anti-LGBT hate crime, but it should serve as a wake-up call, they say, for everyone. Their message today: we can all offer support, all call out abusive behaviour, not just those who have to suffer it.